Hello, everyone. My name is Rebecca Nagel, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. I'm the Assistant Director of Orientation and Transition Programs. Welcome to today's orientation webinar. As the Orientation Office, we prepare new students and families for the upcoming transition to AU through the coordination of intentional programming. We strive to help every new student connect, belong, and grow within our community. We welcome the members of our community to bring their full self to AU. We value human dignity and commit to being empathetic, inclusive, just, and respectful. Our goal is to welcome new Eagles to our community where individuals of all identities and experiences are understood, appreciated, and fully included. In the chat box is a link for live closed captioning. We will be recording this session and posting it to our YouTube channel with captions 24 to 48 hours after the session concludes. You may use the question box feature to ask presenters questions that may be answered live during the session and will be recorded for follow-up answers as needed. I will now turn things over to your presenters.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our session. My name is Marcy Campos. My pronouns are she and her, and I am the director of the Center for Community Engagement and Service. The title of our session is Community Involvement Locally, Nationally, and Globally. Connect with the Center for Community Engagement and Service. So I wish we could talk to you all in person, but for now, this is what it'll be, and we hope to see you in a few weeks. This is our little welcome picture. So the overview of what we will cover today includes who's on the CCES staff, what programs we're going to offer you during the school year, how you can find us and get involved, and then of course we'll close with questions and answers. My co-presenters today are Evert, who you don't see, but you will hear from him. His pronouns are he and his, and he is the coordinator of community-based learning. And Feruz, who you can see, her pronouns are she and her, and she oversees office operations and all short-term community service. I also want to point out two other people who are in the picture. Stephen Angel-Smith, who oversees global learning and leadership, which is mostly our alternative break programs, but it's expanding a bit. And then you'll see Jacob Ortiz, who's the Associate Director for Education and Equity, and you'll hear all about our education work. We also have a bunch of grad students and undergrads who work in our office. We are located on the second floor of the Mary Graydon Center. So for those who have been to campus, we're in the same building as the dining room, commonly called TDR, and also all the different food courts that we have. We're pretty much here 9 to 5 or 9:30 to 5:30 every day, but a lot of times we're here longer, so we look forward to meeting you in the office. So many of you have probably been to Washington, D.C. After all, it is a capital, so you might have come on class trips or family trips, and you probably know the Supreme Court, the museums, and the Capitol building, or any other of the kind of historic landmarks. We are interested in supporting the other DC and helping you get to know the neighborhoods, the history, the culture, and the day-to-day concerns that the 700,000 plus people who live here face. That may be finding affordable housing, quality schools, access to healthcare, decent paying jobs, immigrant rights, voting rights, and more. And since DC is the capital and the White House is here, on the newly named Black Lives Matter Plaza, it's definitely an exciting place and a central location to live and study for a few years. So this quote is from AU's strategic plan. AU is committed to advancing social justice and civic responsibility. We are change makers for a changing world. We believe this captures and embodies what our office is all about. And the next one is the mission of our office. Our mission is to create opportunities for AU students, staff, and faculty to engage responsibly with communities by cultivating mutually beneficial community partnerships to promote learning, leadership, and social change. So that is a mouthful, But I think the important point is mutually beneficial. We really want that these collaborations that are created with nonprofits and schools in the DC area to benefit students, absolutely. They're great resume builders, they're great professional experiences, but we also want to make sure that they serve the nonprofit community, which is so essential to the life of our community members.
Thank you, Marcy. And so here we have our programs. Some of the programs that we offer, the Center for Community Engagement and Service offers are Explore DC, Education and Equity Work, Alternative Breaks, Community-Based Learning, One-Day Service Events, and the Eagle Endowment for Public and Community Service. We'll go into further details about these programs in the coming slides, and I'm sure you are all wondering what this will all look like given COVID, and we have adjusted all of our programming for the fall to ensure it's safe for students. There will be no direct service in the city for the fall, but we have lots of remote service opportunities. And our one-day service events are typically designed to provide members of the AU community with a variety of opportunities to connect with the diverse communities of DC. For example, every year we do an MLK Day of Service on the holiday in January, and in the past, about 200 students, staff, and professors have gone out into the city for a bunch of community service projects, including painting office spaces and cleanups on the Anacostia River. In the spring, we offer another half-day event called Read Your World Day, in which students go into about 3 to 4 public schools and read multicultural books to elementary kids, but also tell them about the college life. And let's say you are part of a club, fraternity, or sorority on campus and want to organize a service project for your members. You can also come to us and talk about your ideas, and we will help you set it up. Lastly, we have Explore DC. This is a program for incoming first-year students at American University. Explore DC gives new students a chance to acclimate to your new home by exploring the burning issues faced by community members and to be exposed to some of the cultural and historical resources that exist. Due to the pandemic, CCES is planning for a 2-part Explore DC program. The first part will be an online experience, and the second will be in person, probably on the AU soccer field or in Bender Arena. It will most likely take place sometime in October and give you a chance to learn about these issues faced by the people who live here, be they a safe environment, affordable housing, access to education, and much more. So please be on the lookout for more information.
So DC Reads is an off-campus literacy program that provides tutoring to children. It's a joint effort between AU students, DC public schools, and community-based organizations such as Higher Achievement Program, Life Pieces to Masterpieces, the Latin American Youth Center, and Reading Partners. So our end goal with this program is to booster both reading and math skills for kindergarten through 8th graders in DC and give AU students a real-life leadership and educational experience. About 150 students tutor every year from our campus. And the great thing is you can do it either as a volunteer or it can be your federal work study job for the year or for a semester, in which case you're going to get paid $15 an hour because that is DC's minimum wage. So that's a very, very popular program and quite a few students, including first-year students, participate. So in the umbrella of education and equity work, we've also developed a college access program. So let's say you prefer to work with older kids rather than little kids. You could be involved in one of 3 sites where you could be tutoring or mentoring a high school student. That might mean helping them work on a college essay. It could mean helping them kind of figure out which colleges do I want to apply to and what are their requirements. But the great thing is that you've all just gone through this process. So you're experts, and we think you would be great guides for young people in the city.
Next, we have community-based learning. Community-based learning and research courses is a teaching and learning strategy that integrates community service with classroom instruction. So many courses at AU allow you to apply the theory that you're learning and studying in the class and put that into real-life volunteer experiences, so practice. There are thousands of nonprofits in the DC area which address a wide array of issues, and we work with your professors to kind of find the perfect pairing. Each one of these classes has 20 hours of community service built into it. This semester, it will obviously be virtual service. So this hands-on work provides an opportunity to really respond to some of the significant needs of the DC metro area while developing your own intellect and kind of tapping into your passions and interests as you go throughout your academic career. On the next slide, I will show you a few examples of the community-based learning courses, or CB courses as we call them. As you can see, they're in the School for International Service, Kidane School of Business, the School of Communications, the College of Arts and Sciences, and even the School of Public Affairs. So all of these courses have community-based projects or service built into them, and it really allows you to get involved with the surrounding area around AU. This other courses such as Intro to Public Health, Critical Perspectives on Race and Education in America. Popular first-year courses are Complex Problems, so I know this semester we have Doing Good at Doing Better, Marketing for Social Change, Public Relations Portfolio, and more. Also at the bottom of this slide, there's a link that will take you to some of the courses that you'll find for this upcoming semester. Our next program is the Community Service Learning Program, or CSLP. CSLP provides an opportunity to do service in DC while earning free academic credit towards graduation. You're able to participate in CSLP 3 times throughout your time at AU, totaling 3 free credits. This program gives students the chance to really serve the communities and issues you learn about in class, and once again, taking that learning process beyond the classroom. So this past spring, students did service in nonprofits such as the National Reentry Network for Returning Citizens, a nonprofit which works in the area of criminal justice. They also worked in Advocates for Youth, Capital Area Immigration Coalition, and Thrive DC, which supports homeless families with meals and other resources. So these volunteer experiences in nonprofit organizations have been able to really shape and influence many of our students' career trajectories after their time at AU, and even make some really great networking opportunities within community. We currently have 4 students who are already signed up for the Community Service Learning Program. Once again, this 40 hours of service will be all virtual service, so more project-oriented or project-based. And our next slide is the Alternative Break Program. The Alt Break Program is a student-led initiative that organizes international and domestic trips with a social justice perspective. They are held 3 times per year, and this year, the next trips will hopefully be this upcoming spring semester. So students propose programs designed to heighten participants' awareness of critical social issues. For example, we've regularly held Alt Break trips to South Africa to look at the ramifications of apartheid, or even gone to the US-Mexico border to investigate the conditions in detention centers for immigrants from Central America and Mexico. Most recently, this past spring break, students worked on Indigenous rights with the Cherokee Nation in North Carolina, and even worked on post-hurricane education issues in Puerto Rico. So each trip is led by 2 upper-class students who propose the program, and they do all the pre-trip preparation, they guide the participants on site, and also promote post-trip activism on AU's campus and in the DMV area. So these student leaders get to actually go on the trip for free, which it's a lot of hard work preparing for these trips, but everyone says it's a transformational experience. And definitely either email my colleague Stephen, or you once again stop by our office to find out a little bit more.
Great. Awesome. And lastly, we have a very unique endowment here at AU that was created by students about 25 years ago. The Eagle Endowment is basically a fund to support students and groups who want to carry out community service projects in DC, but don't have the funds to put them into action. Our office provides grants of $100 to $1,000 and a year of mentorship to students who propose such initiatives. One recent project that was funded was initiated by 2 student leaders who plan to bring 20 DC high school students from a nonprofit called Life Pieces to Masterpieces to AU for a Kids to Campus Day. This visit includes a tour of campus, sitting in on classes, eating in the dining hall, and going to sports events.
So here I just wanted to point out 2 amazing students who we've worked closely with over the years. On the left, you will see Sasha Estrada. She's going to graduate in May. and she has been involved in numerous ways. She did the Community Service Learning Program add-on credit with her Writing 102 class, and she worked with a group called Ayuda, which works with immigrants. She took a CB class called the Latinx community of the DC metro area, and she worked with more of a think tank called the National Immigration Forum, and she's also done it through sociology and worked with Housing Up. And she will be on campus, so you might get to meet her. On the right is a recent graduate, Isabella Dominique. She was a graduate in May. She did her degree in political science. Throughout her time, she was in the DC Reads program. She was both a tutor and a team leader, and stuck with it because she had such a commitment to working on education issues in DC. She was also active among student clubs. She was the president of the NAACP Student Club and held other offices. She got an Eagle Endowment grant, got some funds to run the project. And then for the past school year, her final year, she was what we call a Newman Civic Fellow, which is kind of a national honor. She was nominated by the president of the university, and she worked with a cohort of students around the country to talk about what civic engagement is all about. So Isabella did great and just got a brand new job with Just Vision, a local nonprofit, and is staying in the DC area. So we're very excited about that. Basically, next slide, please. As we shared, all of our programs take students out of the classroom to deepen their understanding about communities, both locally and globally, looking beyond the monuments and the museums of DC. We do this with a very strong emphasis on student leadership. What does that look like? Well, with DC Reads, with alternative breaks, with the Community Service Learning Program, once you've actually participated, you can become a leader who guides other students. And that way you'll be helping others who are kind of participating for the first time think critically about the social issues they're seeing in their sites in the community, and also reflect on some of the deeper root causes of some of our societal problems. We are super proud to help students grow, foster relationships with communities around us, expand their leadership skills, and explore social justice with this very hands-on approach. So from all of us at the center, we want to thank you for attending our orientation session, and we would love to answer any questions at all that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marcy and Feruz and Everett. Great information. We have some questions coming in. So our first one, can anyone sign up for these programs, or do you have to apply to be accepted in the program?
So I can start with that. Each program has kind of like a slightly different process. DC Reads, you have to fill out an online application and you go through an interview and you have to do some things like get a TB test, but basically anyone who wants to participate will be able to participate. There are no significant obstacles to that. Alt break, each pair of trip leaders has to see, open the application process, students apply and they get interviewed. That's probably a little bit more selective because we might only have 12 spots on a trip and 20 people or 30 people might apply. And Evert, you want to talk about how you apply for CSLP?
Yeah, absolutely. So for CSLP, there really isn't any competition, or no one usually gets turned down. Basically, the couple of requirements are just that you fill out our application form, where we ask you to have really kind of thought critically about two things. The first is which class you would want to pair 40 hours of service with, and then which nonprofit site that you would want to connect to that service and your course. So like I said, we already have 4 students who have signed up to do it. The application's only been up for about 3-4 days, which we're really excited about. And they've already kind of had that critical thinking of who they want to work with and what class they want to pair the community service learning program with.
Yeah. I want to apologize. The sound coming from Everett's side is a little bit garbled and it might be hard to hear. So if you want us to repeat any answers or any background, let us know. It's not as sharp as it should be. We're not sure what's wrong with the system. But I'll just also add that for any of like the short-term service, like MLK Day of Service, Feruz will be overseeing it, but it's pretty much you sign up and you're going to do it.
Great. And my next question, are all of these programs virtual for now, or are there some in-person opportunities?
Yeah, well, as you probably know, because you're all living around the country, this is a very challenging time. And for safety purposes, we have decided, and the university decided, that in the fall, we don't want students either going into the city, or we won't be having any alternative break trips over winter break when we normally would. So all breaks will be spring and summer, assuming everything is good. The only in-person program we anticipate having is Explore DC, which will probably happen in October, and that would be kind of a out in a field with small groups of 6 people kind of rotating to different stations. So that we will post once we have a final date and an application form, but that's probably the only in-person program. All of our programs do require some sort of training, and those will all be done virtually.
Great. Well, thank you all so much. If we weren't able to answer your question during the webinar, we will be able to download the questions and give those to our presenters so they can be in touch. But if you have more questions for this team here, feel free to check out their website. That would be the best place to find all the information of how to get involved and when different programs are happening. So I thank you again for joining us today. We have another webinar coming up shortly at 4 for our parents and families, so we hope to see you then. Thank you all so much and have a wonderful day.